Margo Engberg is the founder and CEO of Pinkabella Cupcakes and PB Franchising. After 20 years of running a successful house cleaning business, she started baking cupcakes for children who never had a birthday party. This grew to stores, franchises, and catering for large companies. She has donated more than 500,000 cupcakes to local charities. She was selected as Alumni of the Year for Seattle Pacific University, her alma mater, in 2013. Welcome, Margo.
My name is Margo Engberg, and I am the founder and CEO of Pinkabella Cupcakes. I'm a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur. Today, I'm going to talk about what passion has to do with creating a company that is both economically valuable and has a great purpose for doing good. But first, I'm going to tell you the story of how it all began and how my passion for cupcakes was born. I spent 20 years out of college until I founded Pinkabella Cupcakes, running and operating a successful house cleaning service. I cleaned for anyone from big company executives, professional athletes, to cute little old ladies. I loved serving my customers and in many ways found it a great ministry to be able to assist and provide people with a better quality of life by taking time off their plate. Though I loved my cleaning company, God stirred in my heart to do something different, something that I could make a bigger impact. My husband, Doug, and I have 4 adopted children. They are now 20, 17, 14, and 9. We first adopted a 6-week-old baby girl from a young gal I mentored through an organization called Young Life. That began a 4-year fight for our lives against the birth father, a level 3-time sex offender in prison. Because he was in the system, he had a right to fight. He actually had more rights than we did. During that time, my husband and I became keenly aware of the needs of many children in need of homes, and we were passionate about doing something about it. So we started the process to adopt one more child, just one more. And you know I have 4. And on the very day our 4-year battle ended and we finalized the adoption of our Jazzy, we received an email picture of a baby that had just been born. 2 days later, my daughter Jazzy and I traveled to Guatemala to meet Mia. 2 weeks later, we traveled again with my husband so he could meet her. While we were there in Guatemala and on an elevator, with our facilitator were 2 older children, 7 and 9. In Spanish, they asked the facilitator something, and we did not speak Spanish. She was shaking her head no. When my husband asked her what they were asked, she said, "They want to know if you are going to adopt them." And my husband said out loud and boldly, "Yes." And I said, "Did you say that out loud? Because I'm pretty sure they know what that meant." And yes, they did. She informed us that she was taking the kids to meet another family. I'll move this just a tad. That she was taking the kids to meet another family. Later that night, she checked in to see how the baby was doing, and we asked about the big kids. She told us very matter-of-factly, "Oh, the family didn't want them," as if they were no big deal. I said, "Did she say that? Did they say that in front of them?" And she said, "Yes, but don't worry. They are used to that." Yeah. "No one wants older children," she proceeded. My heart was broken. We had no plan or money to adopt 2 more kids. We told the facilitator that we had no idea how we would do it, but that we wanted to take the kids. She said, "No problem, I'll do a 2 for 1. Like they were cupcakes or something. My now 2 older children, Gabe and Tycie, are the best transaction we ever placed on a credit card. True story. We put our kids on a credit card. So there's a ton of backstory to that, and how we were able to pay that off was amazing, but it's a really long story. We brought Gabe and Tycie home at the age of 9 and 11. Now to the business of doing cupcakes and passion and purpose. At this point, our 2 older kids had 2 American dreams: to go to Disneyland and to have a birthday party. They had never had one. Imagine that simple dream, right? And I cry every time, and it's my story, and I still cry. After bringing our kids home and getting into our public school in our affluent Kirkland neighborhood, we learned that there were many kids that couldn't afford to bring treats on their birthday. That broke my heart again. I couldn't imagine not being celebrated like all the other kids. And so I thought to myself, cupcakes are all the rage, and it's something I can do. I have always had a passion for baking. So I went to the school and I volunteered to be cupcake mom. And I offered to supply treats for any kid who couldn't afford them. But I made them really special. I played around with them and made them extraordinary, not ordinary. I figured they needed to feel special. The requests were pouring in, and my friends started asking me to do their kids' cupcakes. So I came up with an idea that I presented to my husband, who is the director of Olive Crest, an organization that helps foster kids find forever homes. I said, what if we opened up a shop and we were able to use the profits to help fund organizations that help children? Now, mind you, it was 2009, the economy was tanked, and the malls were making really good deals on rent. And there was a really good reason for that. My husband questioned it a lot. I did my research, and I convinced him that this is what we needed to do. So we stepped out in faith because we felt that we were called to do this, and we opened our first store. Our whole mission became about helping people. It's what drives me every day. Small business is hard, but when you have a vision, a purpose beyond your profit, your mission is accomplished. I get asked all the time, okay, accountants, plug your ears, are you profitable? And I say, I have no idea. I'm not really kidding, but I will say having a passion to help kids and people in need and the employees that are like family to me is what drives me. At Pinkabella, we don't measure our success by a P&L, but by the difference we get to make in the lives of those around us. I am profitable, by the way. I just found out. I'm just kidding. After 7 years. No. When you have that kind of passion that gets you up every morning, that weathers the storm, and others count on you for a job, how can you not work hard to make a profit? I believe we are profitable because we are passionate about our causes. Who knew cupcakes could be so much drama? Owning a small business means just that. Your staff is small, and in the beginning, it was just me and one other person. I can do it all, I thought. There was very little time for sleep, let alone family time. Most of the time, family time meant eating dinner in the window of our cute little shop when my husband would tote our then 4 small children down to see me at my second home. It has been a family affair since the inception, and now 7 years later, my 3 older children all work the stores. My son makes the buttercream for the entire company while attending a local college. My kids used to bring me dinner. Now I get to bring them dinner. It didn't end there, though. With the pressure of growth, we finally decided to open some franchises. This has been a painful 2 steps forward, 1 step back. To date, we sold 5 franchises in the first month, and we terminated 1 of them in the 8th month. I really struggled knowing my franchisee would be very angry, would lose her investment and be very angry. But at the same time, I had a responsibility to protect my employees, our brand that has been used to do so much good. I had to rely on God and my family for protection against lawsuits, lost customers. I cried, and I cried a lot, but I also pressed in and I worked harder. And I found ways to use this experience to live out the faith in my mission. I haven't done this alone. I have had a community of people that have walked beside me and guided me in my work. Mentors and friends that have helped me build a culture that reflects what we stand for. And I have incredible managers that have been with me almost since the beginning. And I have a family that shares the same purpose for the business of doing good. My children have learned the value of sacrifice and working hard and giving back. They are all incredibly grateful and generous far beyond their years. It really does take a village. I'm going to leave you with this. Turning passion into profit happens when you identify your life's purpose and you make a connection between your purpose and your ability to fulfill that, your mission and your ability to fulfill that purpose. Building a strong, profitable brand for your cause and align your ambition for success with one greater than yourself. Thanks for letting me read that. I know it's probably not standard speaker. So do you guys have any questions? Anyone want to ask questions? Yeah.
Have you, I'm sure you're aware of the different TV shows with Cupcake.
Yeah.
Have you ever been part of it?
So, Cupcake Wars has chased us. And we did. We auditioned and we were selected. But one day before I was flying to LA to go do Cupcake Wars, my young niece died. And unexpectedly, so I could not go, and I have not since then signed up or tried out. But my husband and I did star in a reality show last year, and so we were on a 10-week reality show that was have you guys heard of Amazing Race? Yes. Okay, so Amazing Race were the producers of this show called The Relative Race. So they sent us on a journey across America for 10 days, finding relatives, only giving clues after they took our DNA, giving clues to find them. No road, no GPS, no phones, just road map against 4 other couples. We ended up in New York City for the final day, and we got to meet 10 relatives along the way, given you made it all the way, which I won't say anymore, but in case you're going to go back and watch it, but we made it all the way. So it was awesome, and it was really a cool experience. It was hard, but it was good. The Relative Race. It's online, yeah.
Has your business covered your husband's income now, or is he still working?
No, my husband still works, but he's really passionate about what he does. I don't know that he'll ever quit working. And we live exactly the same way we did. We're $1.5 million company, but we live the same way we lived from the day we started. Drive the same cars, we live in the same house, because our mission is really about giving back and when we started it, we said it is for the purpose of giving. So we live the same.
Can you share with us some of the places you've given the money to?
Oh gosh, the list is long, but if you go to our website, it's really long and it's not even updated. But our real passion, we are very involved with Seattle Urban Academy in Seattle, which is an at-risk youth school. Eastside Academy, which used to be they used to be the same organization, then they split. But Olive Crest, which is the organization my husband works for, is an organization that helps foster kids find homes. We also have a program called Safe Families. So we're really involved in taking these kids in and get them a safe family in between. We're the largest, as of this year, we're the largest foster care provider in the state of Washington. We just merged with the second largest. So we have, I wish I had the numbers, but a lot of kids on our radar right now. So, yeah.
How did you take it from your store to then
5 stores? And that's so funny, because I was just gonna have one little store in sleepy little Redmond Town Center, and on opening day we sold 2,000 cupcakes, and it was like, this is a real thing. I guess I'm doing this now. And it just every step of the way, it was so ordained, in my opinion, that we opened our first store. 5 months later, we opened our second store. 5 months after that, we opened our third store. And we just have been on a really good track from the beginning, but it was not intended. And another thing that I never anticipated when we started Pinkabella was I never even thought about the whole catering side. I just thought, we're going to sell cupcakes out of our store. But we're huge. We do over 150 weddings a year for cakes and cupcakes. We are the exclusive birthday cake for American Girl doll here at Alderwood. So every birthday party that they have, we do their cakes. we are the exclusive dessert for all 3 13-coin restaurants in Seattle and Bellevue, and then Microsoft. So we do all their launch parties. When they launch a new product, we put their logo on the cupcake. I've even shipped, because I couldn't ship cupcakes, I shipped logoed cookies to San Francisco for when AOL, or not AOL, I'm sorry. It's one of Microsoft's, one of their brands launched a new product. So we do a lot of corporate. We do a ton of birthday parties, weddings. What's a quinceanera? I can never say it. Yeah, we do a lot of those, and those cakes, they spend more money on those than most of my brides spend on a wedding cake. It's crazy.
How did you handle the marketing aspect of your business when you first started?
So my husband will tell you that that I am the best marketer of the company, and I think it's just because I'm so passionate about it. I just talk about it to everybody, and when someone's eating one of my cupcakes, I'm like, that is the best cupcake. And I'm telling you right now, nobody took the strawberry. It is the best one in that box. And I'm not one that tends to pick strawberry flavor, but it's 100% real strawberries in that frosting, and it's unbelievable. So somebody better go get that. But
Do your own website?
I did my own website just with the help of a friend that does that stuff. And I did a lot of my own, I just Facebook and social media and spreading the word. Like I said, we opened in October 2009 with 2,000 cupcakes sold, and we had no idea that I had to send people to the store to buy ingredients to bake in the back.
So how many cupcakes a day or a week or a year are you making?
So now we average about 2,000 cupcakes a day between the 4 stores and special orders, and then on the weekends about 8,000 with stores and all your regular, just stocking the stores, but the special orders, they're huge. And we do totally over the top custom cakes too. I mean, if you have a favorite Prada purse, we can make it. If you have a shoe you love, we can make it. We do everything now. So.
Can you share how, you obviously you grew your team, not just the people making, physically making cupcakes,
Yeah.
but who else is involved?
Who all works for us?
Yeah.
So I have bakers, I have decorators, I have drivers. We bake out of a central bakery, so we have to deliver to all 4 stores now, every night or every morning. So I have drivers, and then I have counter people, which work the counters and sell the cupcakes off the store. And I have a personal assistant. So those are the people that work for me.
You don't have any other executives in your
I actually do. I did just hire a guy, president of franchise, because we are now a franchise, and we just signed 2 new franchisees last week. So I did finally hire an executive, but I haven't. It's mostly me.
You're still doing your own marketing?
As much as I market, yes. I know everyone's going to come after me when I leave here. I do a lot, but I've also had a ton of exposure. Just features, being featured several times on King 5. For the first 5 years, we won Best of Western Washington. So I always got a prime spot on Evening Magazine. I was just featured in 425 magazine for Unstoppable Women on the East Side. So whenever that happens, I just get a flood of people that come in and say, "Oh, I saw you in the magazine." So I've been really lucky that I've had a ton of good publicity without even having to do a lot. Yeah.
Did you tell us, and I missed how you came up with the name?
So I named us first. For the first 6 months, we were called Pinkalicious. Have you guys ever heard of the little kids' storybook? And I wasn't careless and didn't assume there was a trademark. There is, but she trademarked books and toys. So I thought, why couldn't I trademark it for baked goods? And I did. So the first 6 months we were Pinkalicious, and that famous lady found me and sued me. So, and I took it as a compliment because she now has books all over. She's a bestseller. She's crazy. But she sued us, and we were just a couple weeks from going into print with our sign for our second location. I guess we were like 5 months in. And I said, well, I'm not going to fight this. I'd rather just cut my losses, because I mean, a sign alone for a storefront is 10, 15 grand. And I was just about to put the sign in, and I'm like, change the name now. And so I took the Pinka that everybody had already recognized, because in the first 5 months, we already had major brand recognition. So that was the only thing that bothered me about having to change. So we kept it exactly the same, and I added Bella, which is one of my daughter's middle name. And then, because I don't get even, because I don't get mad, I get even, I did my own children's book called Mia, named after my other daughter, and the Magic Cupcake. So that's also on Amazon. So, anyways. Any other questions? Yes.
What did you learn from the franchise challenge you had, and what did you try to do differently?
That was my, to date, my biggest learning experience and my hardest part of everything I've ever done. So, as I said, we've built a really strong brand. So to have someone in your establishment that doesn't care, that literally was running it into the ground, buying cakes at Safeway and bringing them in and selling them as a Pinkabella cake is just not cool. And we tried really hard. We worked with her from the beginning. But what I learned from that was she was my first, and I was really, really excited to sell a franchise because I thought, I'm a franchise now, and somebody wanted it. And so I took the first person that came to me and I sold to her without doing a lot of interviewing, talking to her. I was just so excited that somebody wanted our brand. And now I've realized there's a lot of people that want it, and I get to pick who gets to be a part of it. So that's my biggest learning experience. And it was not easy. It cost us a lot of money to terminate that, and it was tough. It was really hard.
What in your background prepared you to do this?
That's a good question. Nothing. I was not prepared for this, but I did run a successful house cleaning service. I actually taught autistic children for the first 5 years out of college. I got my teaching degree, and I taught at the experimental education unit in Seattle at the U of W. So for my first 5 years, I was that, but high burnout rate. So I took a summer that after school got out, and I thought, I'm just gonna clean some houses, and I started picking up these big executives and Seattle Seahawks and Mariners, and I'm like, this is cool, and I actually make money. So because teaching is tough, and I love teaching, and I love the school system, but I was single, and I felt like I was old. I was 37 when I got married, so I felt like I was going to be single forever, and I knew that I had to do something that if I wanted to buy a house, whatever. So I built the house cleaning service, and thought I was going to go back in the fall, but it took off, and I did really well, and I just built that for 20 years. So what prepared me was just being running my business on my own, learning from my own mistakes. But I think it just prepared me for excellent customer service. The type of people I cleaned for expected excellence. And so when I got into the business with retail, I knew that it had to be excellent. In the beginning, a lot of people came in and said, oh my gosh, we love your story. We come and get your cupcakes because we love your story. And I remember saying to somebody, I don't want you to buy my story. I want you to love our story, but I want you to love our cupcakes. And I tell my staff the same thing. we have to deliver an excellent product. There's tons of competition, and so I take pride in both. I take a lot of pride in our product.
Is your house cleaning business still around? Did you sell it?
I didn't sell it. I just slowly trickled out. And you know, if you can believe this, when I had to get fired by most of them, because when I started the Pinkabella, I didn't know how it was going to do, so I kept like 5 of my houses, and they're like, no, go do your Pinkabella. But in the beginning, a lot of them didn't want me to leave, because they're like, we've had you for 20 years. A lot of my clients, I had been in their house and never even met. So I'd been cleaning house and only saw pictures on the walls of who the people were. And so people trusted me, and that was hard, because I knew they had to replace me, and I didn't see any value in selling it. Maybe a smart businesswoman would have. Then I would have had money to start my business. But I kept cleaning for the first few months for a couple of my clients, and they said, we're firing you. You need to go do your dream. Not because I was doing a bad job, just so I could focus on Pinkabella. Anything else? Yes?
I'll just say, after your last talk at the breakfast in Bellevue, I ordered cupcakes for the Husky game, and my husband's 75th, and they were beautiful. And we had a half dozen of the gluten-free, so it was very...
Good.
And we had the Husky
Logo on them.
Logo, yeah. Really neat.
Thank you for ordering.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mario, I'd like to say, not a question, but just to also just kind of speak as a testimonial of what you've been saying. And like, I've tasted a lot of them, they're all very good. But they're exceptional.
You said 100,000.
Yeah. you said you sold over 1.5 million cupcakes. I'm sure I haven't had more than 10% of those. I'm just, as working for Krista, I had the opportunity to be involved with Seattle Urban Academy, the alternative high school, and you have been involved with that over the years, and I think your husband too.
He used to be the director of development, yeah.
And so there couldn't be a better place for a child to be made to feel special. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget I was in sales, and so I tried to get clients that were food providers to provide food for the students, like for their graduation or for a weekly lunch, that type of thing. And Margo would volunteer to provide cupcakes for that monthly special
birthdays.
Meal.
Yeah.
They'd celebrate birthdays once a month for the students, and the Pinkabella Cupcakes would be there to do the birthdays. And at graduation one year,
every year.
And you've done graduation
the
every
pictures,
year.
yeah.
And I was so impressed. Their photographs of the students was imprinted in edible ink on the cupcakes.
So every graduating student, then we got their graduation picture, because they take them before. So at the graduation party, we did a dozen of every student. So then when all the guests were there, they got to eat their kid. Whatever. Really cool though. The kids love it. Yeah.
And just quickly, the reason why your marketing is so successful, even though it's not really paid marketing, is that it's your passion and your story it's so likable. It's so something you seek after, and the news craves after a positive story like that.
Yeah,
and obviously, it's about also your Christian heart, giving, and not expecting anything in return, but there's blessing in return.
Thank you.
It's sowing and reaping, and you're definitely sowing. So
thank you.
Glad to hear you're reaping.
Thank you, John. So sweet. Thank you. I loved working with you. Mm-hmm. Still down there. I still take lunch once a month.
Great.
Yes.
Switching now, biggest challenge as a mom.
Yeah, that was hard. I felt like, and my kids tell me now, they used to get in the car and go, you work? Because I still picked my kids up every day, and I took them to school. They didn't know that I dropped them off to school, went down and worked at the bakery, picked them up, brought them home, had dinner, then went back and baked through the night while they slept. They had no idea. So they say that, but I felt like I really missed my kids. But I've never missed a field trip. I've never missed a sporting event, not one. So I felt like I've managed it well, but I also have an amazing husband who he's just super hands-on with the kids. He's super hands-on with the business, and we're so in sync to what we believe and what our passion is. And he probably sells me more than I sell myself. I mean, he's always out there telling people about our cupcakes and what we do. But it was a challenge. Just I felt like I was always running on with my hair on fire. I'd pull into the school. I feel like it, but I know it's not true. But I feel like I was screeching into the school, slamming on the brakes, and like, get in, get them home, dump them off, go do the next thing. But that's just how I feel I lived. But we were talking about it the other day, and the kids are like, no, you seemed like just normal. But they're all very high functioning children. And I think that was probably because it was a learned behavior. They're very multitaskers like me, and they can do lots. Oh, well, except one of mine, which I've actually that would be a struggle because I'm so wired to do so many things at once, and I have one that struggles with that. And I actually had to go to see a counselor because I was like, I don't want to push me on her, but I want her to multitask. And they're like, she doesn't do it. Like, don't even force it. So, but that would be my biggest, is just feeling that I wasn't there. But my kids are amazing, truly. My son and I are the keynote speakers. We're going to share a story at the Olive Crest Gala on March 4th. So he's 20 and his story is unbelievable. I had to write it for him, but just the abuse he and his sister suffered in Guatemala. Here I go again. Amazing human beings. They're just amazing. I know a lot of people said, older kids, aren't you scared? And I'm like, I mean, I probably should have been, but they are incredible. They're making a difference in the world. Those two older kids are incredible.
Did you have a hard time with them feeling, how were you able to make them feel like your home was their home instead of theirs?
It was instant. It was so, they suffered tremendous abuse. So my son, in his story, he ends it with, and I thought that was so telling. He said, finally, we are not afraid anymore. They lived in fear. They lived in a basement where they were left alone with a loaf of bread for weeks. So the minute they came and they had meals and they had parents and they had people that loved them, they just, I cannot tell you how easy our transition was. Not easy across the board. I had a 4-year-old that thought she was King Kong and was like, you just brought 3 kids home. And then so we had adapting there. And they didn't speak English at all, not one word. And we didn't speak Spanish. So we spent a lot of time going, this is a pen. That's how we communicated until they learned the language. But they just wanted to be loved. You know, it's amazing. Kids just want to belong. And I think when they belong, they feel that sense of belonging, that carries you through a multitude of other issues. They are just truly amazing.
Did you have any acting out issues as they felt more and more comfortable?
No, I mean, honestly, just my son, who's now 20, just came to me 2 weeks ago and said, I think I need counseling. And I'm like, what? Because no, I didn't say that to him, but I felt that way because I just feel like he's so well adjusted. And he said that he's just super angry at his mom. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And we've talked about it. I knew he was angry, but so he's 20 years old and he wants to go see a counselor. So he's been twice. And the daughter who's 17 came with some pretty severe eating disorders because food was so scarce. She would take food from the table and hide it under her bed. And so it was a lot of, we don't hide, we don't have to sneak, we don't have to, but she did for a while really battle that, but she's completely turned the corner. She's amazing. So those were our little issues. We're just mostly adapting, but gosh, I wish they could be standing here because you would just not believe them. They're just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, just the whole production of your product going, did you start baking in the home and then?
Oh, good
run a
question.
facility, or how did that all develop?
Yes, I baked in my home until the health department shut me down. So, I didn't know there were rules. I was just baking cupcakes, right? And then I quickly ran out and rented space from a kitchen, a local guy who was a caterer. And that was still before I opened my store. But I started making all the buttercream for our company in a tiny little KitchenAid mixer. And my dream was to buy a big mixer, like the one, I called it the one that stands on the floor kind. Yeah. Anyways, I couldn't wait. But I also, a part of this story is without me working, I couldn't really just quit my job because we relied on my income. But we didn't have a lot of money to open Pinkabella because we had just adopted all these kids. And so we had been pretty stripped. Our court battle against the sex offender birth father cost us $150,000. Yeah, and it was a 4-year battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court. Amazing that it should even go past like a regional court. But so we were pretty much stripped of anything we had. And so when I started Pinkabella, my first shop, it was us who put the paint on the walls and chandeliers to make it look Pinkabella. But I didn't have enough money to open my own bakery. And so I was just going to rent the space and rent as we go. But after opening day, I gave my first, I'm just going to say it. Opening day, we made $8,000. And on opening day, I gave $3,000 to a charity we were involved in, and I gave $3,000 to a mixer. So I was so excited about my mixer. And then, yes, I did. And then after that, I started collecting stuff, and I'm like, I can get my own bakery now. And to this day, I'm proud to say, 8 years in, we are 100% debt-free. We have paid as we go. So we own both our really amazing, adorable vans. Everything that's in our stores, we own. Every piece of equipment we bought with cash. So that is something that really meant a lot to me, was that we would be able to give more by not owing more. Just go buy Pinkabella Cupcakes.
Yeah.